The Forgotten Village. Chapter 1. The Road into Silence. I still remember the road that led there. It was narrow, cracked, and lined with trees that leaned too close. The branches formed an archway. Above, their leaves whispering secrets I couldn't understand. The air was heavy that morning, not with fog, but with stillness. Even the birds were silent. It felt as if the forest itself was holding its breath. I had heard the stories for years. A village lost somewhere beyond the mountains. A place erased from maps. And a curse whispered among travelers. They said no one who went there ever came back. I didn't believe it. Not at first. I was a journalist, or at least I used to be. After the war, I needed something to chase. Something that wasn't death or smoke. So when I heard about Kareven, the Forgotten Village, I decided to see it for myself. The locals warned me not to go. An old man at the gas station muttered, "Places die for a reason." He wouldn't meet my eyes when he said it. I drove on anyway. The further I went, the worse the road became. Potholes, roots breaking through the asphalt, signs eaten by rust. After a few miles, I realized I hadn't seen another car in hours. The radio lost signal. My phone battery flickered and died. And then the forest thickened, swallowing the daylight. It was there that I saw it. A wooden sign half buried in vines. The paint was faded, but I could still make out the word Kareven. The letters looked carved rather than painted, as if someone had dug them in with a knife. Something about it made me shiver, but I kept going. The path narrowed into dirt. Every step my tires took sent echoes through the trees. When I finally reached the village, I thought I'd entered a dream. Houses stood at odd angles. Their roofs caved in, their doors hanging open like mouths mid-scream. The air smelled of damp wood and iron. There was no wind, no sound, not even insects. It felt as if time had forgotten to move here. The world outside no longer existed. I parked by what looked like a square. A dried fountain stood in the center. Statues of faceless figures surrounded it, their heads tilted toward the sky. I walked among them, boots crunching on dead leaves. Every step echoed too loud. The silence pushed back. A church tower leaned over the hill. Its bell was missing, but I could swear I heard it ring. A faint, hollow note drifting through the stillness. I froze. The sound was soft, distant, but real. I was sure of it. And yet, there was no wind to carry it. I followed it. My hands trembled, though I didn't know why. The path wound between crumbling walls, past doors that creaked without touching them. Inside one house, a table was still set with plates. Dust covered everything, but the chairs were pulled out, as if someone had just left. On the wall, there were handprints, dozens of them, small, large, smeared, all the same color, black. I stepped back. Something moved upstairs. A slow, dragging sound. Then silence. I should have left, but curiosity is a dangerous thing. It whispers louder than fear. I climbed the stairs. The wood groaned beneath my weight. Dust felt like snow. At the top, I found a bedroom. The window was broken, the bed untouched. And there, on the pillow, lay a doll. Its face was cracked, its eyes made of glass. But when I was missing, the other followed me. I reached for it, and then the air went cold. I felt it before I heard it. A presence, heavy, invisible, pressing against the room. My breath fogged. The light dimmed, and from the hallway behind me, a whisper, "Leave." I turned. Nothing there. The sound came again, closer. "Leave." A voice made of wind and echo. My heart pounded. I stumbled back down the stairs, nearly falling. The door slammed shut behind me. Outside, the air felt different. Sharper. The trees seemed closer now, their shadows deeper. Evalkid fast. Eyes scanning the windows of every house. Once I thought I saw someone looking out. A pale face, gone as soon as I blinked. I reached the square. Again, the statues looked the same. But the fountain was wet. Water trickled down its stone sides, shimmering under the fading sun. I stepped closer and saw the reflection. A figure stood behind me. Tall, still, its face hidden in the dark. I turned, and it was gone. The reflection remained, staring back, eyes like hollow pits, mouth smiling. I ran, didn't look back. Didn't stop until I reached the edge of the village. But the sign that said Kareven was gone. Only the post remained, splintered, smoking. The forest was silent again. Too silent. I could feel the village watching me. I got into the car, hands shaking, heart pounding so loud it drowned out thought. The key turned, but the engine didn't start. The headlights flickered once, then again, and in that flash, I saw them. Figures, standing in the trees. Dozens, maybe hundreds, all facing me. Their faces were blank, their clothes torn, and their heads tilted, just like the statues. Watching, waiting, I slammed my foot on the gas. The car roared to life. Mud flew, trees blurred, and the village disappeared behind me. But even as I drove, I heard it, faint behind the engine noise. The bell, ringing one last time. Chapter 2, The Echo Follows. I drove until the road ended. The forest gave way to open hills. And for the first time in hours, I saw the sky again. It should have felt like freedom, but it didn't. The air still carried that smell, damp wood and rust. The same scent that clung to Kareven. No matter how fast I drove, it stayed with me. When I reached the next town, I stopped at a small motel. The neon sign flickered, buzzing weakly. The woman at the counter looked up as I entered. "Long road?" she asked. I nodded. "Coming from the north," I said. Her expression changed. "The north?" "Toward the valley." I hesitated. "Yes." "Why?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said quietly, "That road's been closed for years." I didn't argue. I just asked for a room. She handed me the key with trembling fingers. "Room 7, she said. "Try to get some rest." The room was small, a single bed, a flickering TV, a window that didn't close properly. I didn't care. I needed to sleep. My head felt heavy, full of fog. But when I turned off the lights, the silence returned. The same silence from the village. Thick, pressing, alive. I lay there, staring at the ceiling. The hum of the neon outside pulsed like a heartbeat. Just as I was about to drift off, I heard it. The bell. Soft, distant. 3 slow chimes. Then nothing. I sat up fast. The room was empty. The air still. My breath loud. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe my mind hadn't caught up yet. I told myself that. But the pillow was damp with sweat. The next morning, the motel looked smaller than before. The woman at the counter wasn't there. A man stood in her place, eyes sunken and pale. "Checking out?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "Did you hear a bell last night?" He frowned. "A bell? We don't have one." Then he smiled. "But you're not the first to ask." That stayed with me all day. As I drove toward the city, every sound made me flinch. A distant church, bell, a truck horn, even the radio static. By the time I reached home, I was exhausted. My apartment felt cold. I hadn't noticed it before, but the air there was always a little too still. I unpacked slowly. When I opened my bag, I froze. Inside, beneath my clothes, lay a small handful of black dust. It shimmered faintly gold when the light hit it. I hadn't packed it. At least, I didn't think I had. My fingers tingled when I touched it. That night, I dreamed of the fountain, the statues, the faceless figures tilting their heads toward me, and the water turning red. I woke gasping, heart pounding like thunder. Outside, rain tapped softly against the glass. Then clang, the bell, closer this time. 3 notes, deep and heavy. And when I looked out the window, I saw them, figures, standing in the street, still, watching, rain sliding down their motionless faces. I blinked, they vanished. Only puddles remained, rippling, reflecting faint gold light. I didn't sleep after that. The next day, I found my front door open. Nothing was missing, but the floor was wet. Footprints, small and black, led into the hallway. At the end of the hall, the wallpaper peeled slightly. I pulled at it and gasped. There, carved into the wall beneath, was a word, Kareven. The letters were deep, old, as if they'd been there for years. I stumbled back. The phone rang. The sound shattered the silence. I grabbed it, heart hammering. "Hello." Static. Then a voice, soft, echoing. "You shouldn't have left." I froze. The line went dead. I stood there for what felt like hours, listening to my own breathing. The days blurred after that. I started hearing the bell everywhere, in traffic lights, in the creak of pipes, even my own heartbeat. Sometimes I'd wake to find mud on my floor, sometimes handprints on the window. Once my reflection smiled before I did. That was when I stopped turning on the lights. I tried to tell someone, a friend, a coworker. They laughed it off. You've been overworking, they said. Maybe you just need a break. So I took one. I packed a bag and drove south, away from the forest, away from anything that could remind me of that place. But at night, the fog returned. It rolled across the highway, thick and glowing faintly gold. I slowed down, heart racing. The bell rang again, not in the distance this time, but inside the car. The dashboard lights flickered. The radio turned on by itself. Static whispered a rhythm. A voice emerged, broken and low. Come back. Then everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, the car was parked, the engine off, the key still in my hand. Outside, trees. Tall, black, familiar. I knew that shape, that road. I was back. Kareven. The air was colder, but the silence was the same. I stepped out slowly, my breath visible in the dark. Somewhere deeper in the village, a light flickered. I followed it. I didn't want to, but I had to. The streets twisted, narrower than I remembered. The houses leaned closer. The fountain was still there. Only now, the statues faced inward, toward something at the center. The water glowed faintly gold. The air shimmered. And then I saw them. The villagers. They stood around the fountain, silent and still. Their faces pale, eyes hollow. But they weren't stone anymore. They were breathing. One turned to me, slow, deliberate. Her mouth moved. Welcome back. Her voice was the same one from the phone. I stumbled backward. The ground beneath my feet cracked. The fountain began to pulse with light. And beneath the water, something moved. A hand, golden, long, and thin, rose from the depths. It reached for me. The air vibrated with sound. The bell, louder than ever. Each ring tore through my skull. I dropped to my knees. When I opened my eyes again, the fountain was dry. The villagers were gone. Only one figure remained, standing in the square. It was me, or something that looked like me. It smiled, and then it whispered, "Leave." I ran until my lungs burned. I didn't stop until I saw daylight. When I turned back, the forest was gone. So was the road. Only an open field remained. Green, peaceful, no village, no bell, just silence. I fell to the ground, shaking. The sun felt too bright, too warm. I was alive. I was free, or so I thought. When I reached the nearest town again, people stared at me. Some whispered. Others looked away. I stopped at a shop window to see why. And there, in my reflection, my eyes shimmered faintly gold. Chapter 3, The Awakening Beneath. For days, I tried to ignore it. The gold shimmer in my eyes, the faint hum in my ears, the strange, heavy stillness that followed me wherever I went. I told myself it was trauma, stress, exhaustion, but deep down I knew the truth. Kareven wasn't gone. It had followed me. Or maybe it had never really let me leave. The first sign came 3 nights later. I woke to a sound, soft, rhythmic, almost gentle, like someone whispering beneath the floor. At first, I thought it was the pipes, but the whisper had shape. It spoke in syllables I almost understood. Not English. Older. Raw. When I pressed my ear to the ground, I heard a voice say my name. Slow. Deliberate. Calling me closer. I pulled away, heart pounding. The floorboards were cold beneath my hands. And when I looked closer, there were veins of gold running through the wood. Thin, fragile, glowing faintly. They pulsed in time with my heartbeat. Every second that passed, the glow grew stronger. I backed away, stumbling into the wall. The paint peeled. Underneath it, black marks. Handprints again, the same as in the village. The same size, the same smear of shadow and ash. My breath caught. I ran to the mirror. For a moment, I didn't see myself. The reflection looked older, eyes darker, and then it blinked before I did. I stumbled back. My hand brushed the table. Something clinked and rolled to the floor. The doll, the one from the house in Kareven. I had left it there, I was sure, but now it lay at my feet, staring, Its single glass, I gleamed gold. I kicked it away. It rolled into the shadows, but I could still hear it whispering, "Home." The next morning, the whispers didn't stop. They followed me outside, hidden under the hum of traffic and wind. Every sound carried an echo. At work, people avoided me. One colleague said, "You've changed." Another said, "Your eyes, they look different." In the bathroom mirror, I saw it clearly. Tiny gold lines spreading across my irises, like cracks in glass. Alive, moving. I blinked, they pulsed. And in the silence that followed, I heard the bell again. Closer, inside my chest. That night, I dreamed of the fountain again. But this time, the statues had faces. My face. Dozens of them. Each one whispered, "Stay." I woke drenched in sweat. The sound of running water filled the room. But my sink was dry. I followed the sound to the living room. The gold veins had spread. Across the walls. Across the floor. The light flickered. The air shimmered. And for the briefest moment, I saw the village again. Right there, inside my apartment. The same fountain. The same houses. Only smaller, distorted. Like a reflection in broken glass. I blinked, and it was gone. But the smell remained. Wet earth. Smoke. Iron. I couldn't stay. I packed my things and left before dawn. The streets were empty. No cars. No people. The city felt hollow, as if someone had drained the life out of it. Even the lights flickered slowly. The air was thick. I drove without direction. Every mile took me further. From home, or closer to something else. Something waiting. At a gas station on the edge of nowhere. The attendant stared at me too long. "You okay, sir?" he asked. I nodded, though my voice shook. He hesitated, then said quietly, "You've got something on your neck." I reached up. My fingers came away, dusted with gold. I wiped it off, but the man kept watching me, eyes wide, fearful. When I looked into his pupils, I saw the reflection of Kariba, the fountain, the church, the statues, all alive again. I left without another word. The road stretched endless beneath me. The horizon shimmered faintly gold, and the sky grew darker with every mile. By nightfall, I reached the forest, the same road, and somewhere beyond, the same silence. I parked the car and stepped out. The air was colder here. The trees whispered like they knew me. And beneath it all, the bell. Soft at first, then clear. 3 notes, then 3 more. A heartbeat of sound. I walked. Branches brushed against my shoulders. Roots twisted on the floor. The fog thickened. And then, like faint and golden between the trees, the path curved. And there it was again. Kareem. Whole. Alive. Waiting. The air hummed, warm and pulsing. The ground beneath me moved, breathing. The houses looked new now. Fresh paint. Windows glowing with candlelight. Voices murmured behind. Blank. They were beautiful, too perfect, as if carved from living metal. Their eyes shone like mine. "Welcome home," they said. Their voices blended into one. The sound shook the ground. It filled the air like thunder. I tried to speak, but my throat was dry. The light grew brighter, and the gold veins on my skin began to glow. I looked down. They were spreading fast. Across my hands, my arms, my chest. It didn't hurt. It felt warm. The villagers stepped closer. Their hands reached out, soft, shimmering, alive. "Don't fight it," one whispered. "You belong." My knees gave out. The world tilted. The bell rang again. But this time, it wasn't a warning. It was a welcome. The ground split open beneath the foot. Golden light poured upward, blinding and endless. The villagers raised their hands to it. The light touched me, and everything stopped. The air froze. The sound died, and I saw it. The truth. The gold wasn't treasure. It was hunger. Alive, ancient, endless. It consumed everything it touched, even memory. That was why Karivan was forgotten. Not because it died, because it was erased, swallowed whole by the thing beneath. The villagers hadn't vanished. They had become part of it. And now, so had I. When the light faded, I was standing again. The fountain dry, the square empty. The houses stood, silent, old and broken once more. The air was cold. The world still. I touched my arm. The veins were gone. Only faint scars remained. And for the first time, I could breathe. The curse was broken, or so I thought. When I looked down at the dirt, tiny flakes of gold glimmered there. They pulsed, once, twice, like a heartbeat. And deep beneath the ground, I heard it again. Whisper, waiting, home. Chapter 4, The Last Light. I don't know how long I lay there after the light faded. When I opened my eyes, the world felt hollow. Cold air brushed against my face, and the forest whispered my name. The village was gone again, or maybe it had never truly been there. Only the cracked fountain remained, half buried beneath ash and dust. I stood slowly, my legs trembling, my body heavy but human again. The gold had vanished from my skin. I was free, or at least that's what I wanted to believe. But the silence was too deep, too knowing. Every sound I made came back to me, echoed, reshaped, like the world was learning my voice. I turned toward the forest. There was a path now, straight, clear, and lined with pale stones. It hadn't been there before. Something, or someone, had left it for me. I followed it without thinking. Each step felt lighter. The air grew warmer. The trees opened above, letting sunlight through. For the first time in days, I saw the sky pure and blue. It almost hurt to look at it. Freedom felt unnatural. When I reached the car, it was covered in leaves. The windows fogged. A layer of dust shimmered faintly gold on the hood. I brushed it away and started the engine. It roared alive from the first try. The sound felt almost alive, a heartbeat breaking through silence. I drove until the forest was behind me. By dusk, I reached the city again. The streets looked ordinary, but something in me had changed. It wasn't empty. The water was clear, and in its reflection, I saw the sun. I woke up crying, not from fear, but from relief. It was over, I told myself. Karevan was gone. Weeks passed. I started writing again. The story felt like a wound that wouldn't close. But I had to tell it. People needed to know what I'd seen, what I'd survived. I called the article The Village That Sleeps. Beneath the Earth. It went viral. Readers called it fiction, a clever myth. No one believed it was real, and maybe that was for the best. But sometimes, late at night, when I stared at my computer, screen too long, I'd see the gold shimmer faintly in the reflection, and then it would fade. One evening, I received a message. No name, no number, just a single line. You left something behind. Attached was a photo. The fountain, whole again, the water glowing gold. I froze. It couldn't be. I deleted the message, but the image stayed burned into my mind. The next day, I couldn't sit still. Every sound, every light felt wrong. I packed a small bag. Camera, notebook, flashlight. If Karevan was still there, if the curse had returned, I had to end it. For good. The drive north felt endless. The radio refused to work. The trees grew taller, and the world grew quieter. By midnight, I reached the old road. The sign was back. Welcome to Karevan. But the letters were glowing softly this time. I parked the car and stepped out. The air was thick with mist. My breath came out in white clouds. And somewhere deep within the fog, the bell. 3 notes. Low, heavy, familiar. I walked toward it. Heart steady, no fear this time. The village appeared slowly, as if waking from a dream. The houses rebuilt themselves before my eyes. Stone by stone, timber by timber. The fountain stood in the center, overflowing with golden light. And around it, the villagers waited, smiling. They look human now, whole, peaceful, their eyes no longer hollow, their hands no longer gold. One stepped forward, the woman, the same one who'd said, "Welcome home." But her voice was softer now. "Thank you," she whispered. I didn't understand. She pointed to the fountain. The water rippled, and I saw myself reflected, not shimmering, not cracked. Just me, alive, whole, human. The air shifted. The light dimmed. The villagers began to fade, their smiles calm, their eyes bright. This place was never cursed, she said. It was trapped in memory, in fear, in silence. Her voice trembled. You woke it. You set it free. The fountain pulsed once, a soft hum rolling through the ground. The gold light grew weaker. The air grew warmer. I stepped closer. The water was clear now. I reached in and pulled out something. Cold, a bell. Small, iron, cracked down the middle. It no longer rang. Its silence felt final. I placed it gently back into the water. The light inside the fountain flickered once more, then vanished. The air filled with wind. Leaves swirled through the square. The houses shimmered, their walls turning to mist. One by one, they disappeared, until nothing remained. No fountain, no road, just an open field beneath a silver sky. The dawn was breaking. Birds sang somewhere far away, and for the first time, I felt peace. I stood there for a long time, watching the horizon turn gold. Not cursed gold, but sunlight. When I finally turned to leave, a voice whispered behind me. Soft, gentle, go. I smiled. For once, I obeyed. The road back felt shorter, lighter. The air was alive again. The world awake. By the time I reached the city, the gold in my eyes was gone. No more whispers, no more bells, just life. Ordinary, precious, real. Sometimes I still dream of Kareven, but it's not dark anymore. It's green, alive, full of laughter. A place reborn. Maybe that's what I always wanted. Not to haunt, but to be remembered. And when I wake, with sunlight spilling across the floor, I whisper to the quiet morning air, rest now. The silence answers softly, and somewhere, far beyond the mountains, a single bell rings, not in warning, but in peace.